In this video, I'm going to be making it specifically for my M104 class at IUK. This is going to be problem solving using a system of linear equations. We're working in section 3-2A and 3-2B. I'm just kind of putting all the story problems together in a variety of videos. As I've stated before, if you are in my 104 class, you can download the lecture notes that go along with this, and then you're going to be able to follow along with the examples. I'm going to work one of every type, so you can see me work out one, and then you can use the online lecture notes and work out the other one on your own, and then you will still have an answer key to make sure that you have are grasping the concepts correctly. Alright, in this one, we're going to be dealing with dual investments and some simple interest here. So on this one, we've got a total of $12,000 is invested in two funds that are paying 9% and 11% simple interest. If the yearly interest is $1,108, how much of the $12,000 is invested at each rate? Okay, so pretty typical of dual investment type things dealing with simple interest here. A system of linear equations is going to work perfect for solving this. All right, as always, we're going to start by defining our variables. Okay, so go to the question and see what it's asking for. Okay, how much of the $12,000 is invested at each rate? So I want to know how much is invested at each rate, so that's how I'm going to define my variables. I'm going to let x be, and here again it doesn't matter which one you pick. I've got two investments, one at 9 and one at 11, so I'm going to let x be the amount invested at 9%, and then I'm going to let the y be the amount invested at the 11%. Okay, so the key there is you really do have to define your variables here so that you know exactly what you're dealing with. After you define your variables, you're going to want to write your system of equations. Alright, it'll be, your system of equations. Okay, it is going to be linear. They're both going to be linear equations. Alright, in a problem like this, your first one is going to deal with the amount invested, because x and y is the amount of money that's being invested. Alright, and we know that there is a total of $12,000 being invested from these two amounts. So there's going to be our first equation. X plus y is equal to 12,000. Okay, our second equation then is going to have to include each investment and the interest earned. So then that's where we're going to take into consideration these percents. All right, the amount invested at 9% there, so 0.09 times x. 0.09 times x. The amount invested at y here is at the 11%, so change it to a decimal, 0.11y. And then on the last one, it is if the yearly interest is $1,180. Okay, so that's how much my total interest is going to be, so $1,180. Okay, so then now I have a system of equations. The main part on these story problems is being able to define the variables and write the system. Once you write the system, then basically all you're doing is solving a system of linear equations. Again, you could probably use any method you want as far as elimination or substitution. I always have a tendency to use substitution on these just because almost always you've got a nice equation that has no coefficients there, which allows you to solve that first equation for x really nicely. And again, I solve for x first. You wouldn't have to. You could solve for y first. Alright, so basically 3 steps here. Alright, so my step 1, I'm going to take that first equation and I'm going to solve for x. Okay, so solve for x. Alright, so my first equation is an x plus a y equals 12,000. Okay, solving that equation for x, real easy to do, subtract y from both sides. So x is equal to 12,000 minus y. Okay, so there's my step 1. Alright, step 2. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and plug it into my second equation so that I have an equation written completely in terms of y. Okay, so let's write down what we're doing here. We're going to substitute into the second equation. Alright, so I'm going to rewrite that so we see it. So I'll have a 0.09x plus of 0.11y is equal to that 1180. Okay, now I'm going to take this value and plug it in for x. So I'm going to have 0.09 times that 12,000 minus y. Finish writing the rest of the equation. Plus 0.11y is equal to 1180. Alright, and hopefully, as you can see right now, I have an equation completely in terms of y. This is going to allow me to solve for y. So this is just a little bit algebra at this point. Distribute right here. You're going to have 1080 minus 0.09y plus 0.11y is equal to 1180. Alright, and like I've said in previous videos, in this section, right here's where the mistake is, because people drop this negative right here. Alright, it's a negative 0.09 plus 0.11, so that'll be a positive 0.02. So you got 1080 plus 0.02y is equal to 1180. Subtract that 1080 from both sides, I'll have a 0.02y is equal to 100. Divide both sides by 0.02, you're going to have 5,000. Okay, so at this point, I know that $5,000 has been invested at the 11%. Okay, so step 3, we just have to figure out now how much is invested at the 9%. So I'm going to take this, plug it back into my first equation. So my step 3, all right, let's say substitute into first equation. And here again, I could use the original first equation, or I can come over here. Since I've already solved for x and I'm trying to solve for x, I can plug it in right here. Makes it a little bit quicker here. So x is equal to 12,000 minus y. I know y is 5,000. X equals 12,000 minus 5,000, which is going to give me x is equal to 7,000. Okay, so that means $7,000 is invested at the 9%. And again, like I have done all of these, generally when I am done, I write some type of conclusion just so that the answer is clear. Alright, so on this one we'd have $7,000 invested at 9% interest, and then we'd have the $5,000 invested at the 11% interest. Okay, so it is just really good to take this and then write some type of summary up as opposed to just leaving your x equals and your y equals. Okay, so definitely thanks for watching. If the videos are helping, please share with your friends so they can benefit too, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thanks.